Right now, in an office somewhere, a manager is looking at a spreadsheet and marking one of their quietest, most reliable people as safe. And they could not be more wrong. Because if you're the one who never complains, you are the single most dangerous person on that team. And I mean that as the biggest compliment you've never been paid. I know how backwards that sounds. Stay with me for 90 seconds, because a woman named Elena is about to show you exactly why it's true. On a Tuesday morning, Elena sent a 2-line email and quit, and the company that lost her never saw it coming. 6 years, not one complaint. Her last review called her reliable, low maintenance, a pleasure to manage. That review is exactly why they're now scrambling. Here is what that company learned too late and what almost everyone gets wrong. The most dangerous employee in any building is not the loud one who argues in every meeting. That person is managed. Their risk is visible, tracked, and priced. The dangerous one is the person who never complains. And if that's you, you are sitting on far more power than you realize. You've just never been shown how it works. Here is what Elena's silence actually cost. 9 days after she left, 3 enterprise clients threatened to walk because she had quietly been the only person who understood how their accounts really worked. Rebuilding that took her manager 4 months and roughly $90,000 to replace one silent person who'd been holding it together for free. Nobody saw it coming. That was the whole problem. Not that Elena left, that nobody could have predicted she would. And if you're the quiet, competent one on your team, the next 15 minutes will change how you read every conversation you have at work. And to be clear, this is not a video telling you to start complaining. Complaining, done wrong, just gets you labeled and contained. That is a different video. This is about the specific mechanism underneath all of it. The reason silence is the single most mispriced signal in any organization. By the end, you will understand 3 things. Why your silence is being read completely backwards, why it quietly makes you the most expensive person in the building to lose, and exactly how to convert that, whether you want to get paid more to stay or leave on your own terms with the upper hand. We're going to follow 3 people through this. Elena, who you just met, a man named Kevin who complained about everything, and a woman named Rachel who understood the mechanism and used it deliberately. Watch what happens to each of them, because the third move Rachel made, the one most quiet people never even think of, is the one that changed everything. Stay to the end for that one. And it's not what you'd expect. Start with Kevin, because Kevin is the person everyone assumes is the problem. Kevin complained about workload, about process, about the coffee, about the reorg. His manager found him exhausting. If you'd asked anyone on that team who was most likely to quit, they'd have said Kevin, instantly. Kevin never quit. Kevin is still there. He'll probably be there in 10 years. Here is what almost nobody understands about the Kevins of the world. A complaint is not a threat. A complaint is a request for a future. When someone complains, they are telling you in the only language they have that they still expect things to get better. They are still invested enough to fight. You complain about a house you plan to keep living in. That is why managers deep down are not actually afraid of complainers. Complainers are legible. Their frustration is on record. Their triggers are known. A good manager can plan around a Kevin the way you plan around weather you can see coming. Now, go back to Elena. Elena stopped complaining a long time before she left. Not because nothing was wrong, because she had quietly concluded that saying something wouldn't change anything. The silence your manager reads as contentment is very often the sound of someone who has stopped asking for a future here. That's the inversion. Complaint is the sound of investment. Silence, past a certain point, is the sound of withdrawal. And the organization, almost every time, reads them exactly backwards. It relaxes around the silent one and worries about the loud one. The person who never complains isn't safe. They're just unpriced. Here is the machinery underneath this, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every manager, whether they'd admit it or not, keeps a mental risk register of their team. Who's a flight risk? Who's a problem? Who's steady? They're managing not just the work, but their own exposure to the people above them. And the worst thing that can happen to a manager is to be blindsided. To have someone valuable walk out with no warning in front of leadership with no record they saw it coming. So they watch for signals. And the signals they've been trained to watch for are all loud. Complaints, missed deadlines, conflict, disengagement you can see. HR even has a name for the good version of this, the stay interview, a conversation designed to surface problems before someone leaves. But every one of those systems has the same blind spot. They can only detect the risk that makes noise. The employee who never complains produces no signal at all. So the manager files them by default under stable, not because they've assessed the person as stable, because the absence of a warning gets recorded as the absence of a risk. Silence gets rounded up to safety. Now here's the number that should reframe how you see yourself. Gallup's research puts the cost of replacing an employee at roughly 1/2 to 2 times their annual salary. And for people who hold institutional knowledge, relationships, and undocumented processes, it lands at the high end of that range. The people at the high end are almost always the quiet ones, the ones who solved problems so smoothly that no one noticed the problems existed. There's an HR term for the specific pain this causes: regretted attrition. It means losing someone you desperately wish you'd kept, and critically, someone you didn't see leaving. The quiet high performer is the textbook case. Highest cost to replace, lowest early warning signal. That combination is the single most dangerous liability on a manager's books, and it sits there completely invisible, right up until the Tuesday morning it detonates. That's what happened to Elena's manager. Not a performance failure, a pricing failure. He had a $90,000 risk on his team and had it filed as low maintenance, a pleasure to manage. And here is the part nobody tells you. That mispricing doesn't just hurt the company, it's been quietly hurting you this entire time. Because a person filed under stable and safe is a person no one feels any urgency to invest in, promote, or pay to keep. You have been penalized for the exact thing you thought was making you a good employee. But that same mispricing is also the leverage. Let me show you why. This is where Rachel comes in. Rachel was a quiet one, like Elena. Same profile, competent, self-contained, never made noise. The difference is that Rachel understood the mechanism you now understand. She realized something most quiet high performers never do. An employee the company cannot see leaving is an employee the company has not paid to keep. You are, in financial terms, an unpriced option. The company is holding enormous risk on you and paying nothing for it because you've never made the risk visible. The moment you make it visible, calmly, professionally, at the right time, you're not making a threat, you're simply correcting the price. If this is already reframing how you see yourself at work, hit subscribe, because the next part is where it gets tactical and you're going to want to see it through. Rachel never threatened to quit. She never had to. She did something much more precise, which I'll walk you through in a second. Within a year, she'd been given a scope expansion, a title change, and a raise that put her well ahead of the louder peers who'd been managing up for years. She didn't become louder, she became legible. She converted invisible leverage into visible leverage on her own timing, without ever once looking like a problem. Because here's the truth the loud ones never figure out. Volume is not leverage. Volume is just noise the system already knows how to absorb. Leverage is being genuinely difficult to replace and making sure the right person understands that before the moment you'd ever need to prove it. The never complains employee already has the first half. Most just die on the vine because they never build the second half. Let's build it. 3 moves. Do them in order. The wrong version of any of these does damage, so I'll be precise. Move 1. Make your value legible before you would ever need it. Do not wait for a conflict. Do not wait until you're already halfway out the door. Right now, quietly build a record of what you actually hold. The processes only you understand, the relationships that would leave with you, the problems that stopped existing when you took them over. This is not a complaint file. It's an inventory of the risk the company is carrying on you, the risk it currently has priced at 0. Here is the proof this works. SHRM found that fewer than 1 in 5 organizations actually document what leaves the building when a key person walks. The knowledge, the relationships, the workarounds. Which means for most quiet high performers, that inventory exists in exactly one place, your own head. The moment you write it down, you know something your own employer doesn't. That is the entire foundation of leverage. You are not going to wave this around. You're going to know it, because you cannot negotiate leverage you can't articulate, and the quiet ones almost never can. And there's a quieter payoff here too. The first time you see your own contribution written out in full, everything you've been carrying without a word, something shifts. You stop wondering whether you're imagining your own value. You're not. You just never counted it before. Move 2. Break your silence once, deliberately, and make it count. Here is the difference between you and Kevin. Kevin complains constantly, so nothing he says carries weight. You have said nothing for years, which means the first time you calmly raise something real, it lands with enormous force. So choose it carefully. One conversation, not a list of grievances, a single, specific, forward-looking statement about your role, your scope, and where you're heading. Something like, I want to talk about what my role has grown into and what the path forward looks like. Calm, not emotional, not a threat. And this is not a hunch, it's the how the numbers break. Gallup's data puts the cost of replacing you at 1/2 to 2 times your salary. On a $100,000 role, that's $200,000 of risk your manager is quietly carrying. The raise or the scope change you're asking for is a rounding error against that number. You are not asking for a favor. You are offering your manager the cheapest insurance policy they will ever buy. What you are actually doing is repricing yourself. You are converting an invisible risk into a visible one in the one room it can be acted on. And because it's the first time you've ever spoken up, it does not read as complaining, it reads as significant. Silence spent once and on purpose is worth more than 100 complaints. And if your hands go cold before that conversation, good. That fear is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's the sound of you finally treating your own worth as something worth defending. Move 3. Hold the option. Never surrender your timing. This is the one that separates people like Rachel from everyone else, and it's the move I told you to wait for. The power of the quiet high performer is optionality, the fact that no one can predict your next move. The instant you make an ultimatum, you spend that option and hand your timing to someone else. So don't. Keep interviewing quietly even when you're content. Keep your market value current. Keep the exit as a door you could open, not a door you're standing in. A person with a real option negotiates from calm, and calm is the most powerful posture in any room, because the person who is willing to walk and doesn't need to say so controls the conversation without ever raising their voice. And the market backs this up. Study after study on pay puts the biggest single jumps not with the people who stayed and waited to be noticed, but with the people who kept a live option and changed seats on their own terms, often a raise many times larger than the annual bump loyalty earns you. The people who quietly keep the door open are almost every time the ones who get paid the most, whether they walk through it or not. That is what dangerous actually means here. Not reckless, not loud, unmodelable. The person the system cannot predict, cannot cheaply replace, and can no longer take for granted. And here's what nobody tells the quiet ones. The day you realize you always had the option, that you were never actually trapped, is the day the job stops having power over you and you start having power over it. That feeling alone is worth more than the raise. Go back to the 3 of them. Kevin is still there, still complaining, still exactly as visible and exactly as stuck as the day he started. His noise bought him nothing, because the system already had him priced. Elena is gone. She held all the leverage in the world and never once converted it. She didn't lose because she was quiet. She lost because she let the company set her price and then walked away without ever collecting on what she was actually worth. Her silence was a fortune she gave away for free. Rachel is the only one who understood that silence is not safety and it is not weakness. It's stored value. And stored value that never gets spent isn't power. It's just potential quietly expiring. You were never too quiet. That was never the problem. The problem is that you let a system that only listens for noise decide what you're worth. And it will always, always price silence as free. So stop letting it. You don't need to become louder. You need to become deliberate. Understand exactly what you're holding and choose the one moment to make it visible. The most dangerous employee in any building is the one who finally understands their own value and picks the time to reveal it. Make sure that's you. And before you go, one more thing, because this part matters more than any tactic. If you've spent years being the dependable one, the person who absorbs the hard stuff, fixes what breaks, and never makes it anyone else's problem, I want you to hear this clearly. Your silence was never a flaw in your character. It was loyalty that nobody thought to notice. You gave a version of yourself away for free for a long time, and no one sent a thank you note. That's not a reason to be bitter. It's a reason to finally start pricing what you're worth, starting this week. So do one thing right now. Send this to the one quiet, competent person you just thought of, the one everyone assumes is fine. They need to see this before their own Tuesday morning. And here's the question I actually want you to answer in the comments, not what did you think. Tell me the moment you realized your silence was being taken for granted. What happened? What did they file you under? Tell the story. Someone reading it needs to know they're not the only one. Then, if you understood the leverage part, that you're being carried as an unpriced risk, the next thing you need is exactly how to walk into that one conversation and reprice yourself without giving anything away. I broke down the precise document and script for that in my video on how to actually get paid what you're worth. Watch that one next, because knowing you have leverage and knowing how to use it are two very different things, and the second one is where the money is. See you there.